All right, welcome to section 2, making it personal. In the first section, you learned all about how your imagination can dictate your feelings, where your feelings come from, and how we can do something about that. Now, let's talk about making it more personal. I'm going to start with the very first acting lesson that I've ever gotten in my life. In fact, this is the first acting lesson that you're going to get if you ever take a college course or a course for fun or you want to become a professional. It all starts with one word, and that word is objective. What do you think the word objective means? I'm going to give you just a couple seconds to write it down. What do you think when you hear the word objective? So, you might have written things down like a goal or a hope or something you'd like to achieve. All of that is completely correct. The actor's definition of objective is simply, what do I want and why? Now, that why is super important. That why is a word actors love, and that word is motivation. You always hear actors talking about motivation. What's my motivation?
It's a problem of motivation, all right?
My very first gig as a professional actor was a Doritos commercial, and I went up to the director and I was like, so, what's my objective here? What's my motivation? What do I want and why? And he was like, to eat Doritos because they're delicious. I was like, I got this. I can get there. Right? Actors love this idea of what do I want and why. That's objective. Now, the next part, which is equally as important as the objective, is the obstacle. What do you think of when you think of the word obstacle? If objective means what do I want and why, obstacle is what's in the way. What is stopping me from getting that? The reason that this is the very first lesson you're going to learn in any acting class is because this is the skeleton of every story you've ever heard. It doesn't matter if it's a classic story written thousands of years ago or modern superhero movies or even trash reality TV shows. They all follow this model. Think about it. In a superhero movie, what's the objective? Save the world, right? That's what the hero wants. And what's the obstacle? The bad guy. Always trying to mess things up for everybody, right? Let's take a famous movie like Lord of the Rings. What's the objective? Destroy the ring. But without an obstacle, that movie would be like 14 seconds long, right? Like, hey, Frodo, destroy the ring. Dope, got it. Done, roll credits.
You ready for the third movie?
But the important part is that obstacle. That movie is 16 and a half hours of just obstacle after obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. My girlfriend watches this show that she really loves. It's like this documentary about the end of the world and people turning into vicious monsters that eat each other's hearts. It's called The Bachelor. And what's the objective of that show? Marry Prince Charming. What's the obstacle? There's 100 other women trying to do the exact same thing. If you're a sports fan, what is your team's objective? To win. What is their obstacle? The other team. This right here, objective and obstacle, is the basis of all entertainment. But here's the question. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that this is what we're so obsessed with whenever we want to be entertained? Take a second to write down your thoughts. You might have thought about it. Maybe you said something like, I don't know. Maybe we just love to watch drama, or maybe we can relate in some way, or, maybe it's just who we are as people. I don't know. But let me explain something. Art follows life. Do any of you have objectives? Do any of you have something that you want? Let me ask you this. Do any of you have obstacles? Do you have something in the way preventing you from getting what you want? We all do, right? Some of us have big objectives, like I want to get rich and have a mansion overlooking the ocean, but what's my obstacle? The fact that I live in a landlocked state and work at a fast food restaurant. I don't know. Or maybe, like me, my personal objective is that I mold my children's brains to be good, upstanding members of society. What's my obstacle? TikTok exists. It's a problem. It's a problem. But what about on the day-to-day? What about when the boss tells you you need to get something done in a day? That's an objective. But then you try to get it done and you got a million other things on your plate. That's your obstacle. Or maybe your objective is just write this email and get it out in the next 30 minutes. But your obstacle is the fact that your internet keeps going out. I want you to take a second to start writing down the objectives in your life. Give me a big objective, something you'd love to achieve by the end of your life. And then start writing down littler objectives. What's something you want to achieve by the end of next year? What's something that you want to achieve by next week? What's something that you need to get done today? Then I want you to write down your obstacles. What's in the way? What's stopping you from doing any of those things? Write those down, and then we're going to figure out what we can do about it. So in the previous section, I had you write down your objectives and your obstacles. I want you to write this down. This is very important. Repeat after me, memorize it, do whatever you need to do.
Remember it, write it down.
With obstacles come frustration. That's just a fact of life. If you have something you want to achieve and there's something in your way, anytime we encounter obstacles, we get frustrated. I want to delve deep into those specific obstacles that you wrote down. And I want to compartmentalize some of them because we all have different obstacles. Some of them are outside circumstances, some of them are with other people, but I want to narrow in on those obstacles that we set for ourselves. And it starts with what are called limiting beliefs. What is a limiting belief? A limiting belief is a belief that you hold that is preventing you from getting somewhere. For instance, it might be, I would love to do this, but fill in limiting belief here. I would love to make my dreams come true, but I would love to get a better job, but. What are things that you believe about your life or your circumstance that you think is outside of your control, or you simply don't think you are capable of? I want you to take a second to start writing those down right now. Now that you've identified your objectives, what do you want and why? And also the obstacles, what's in your way? I want you to think of someone else in your life. I want you to think of a time when somebody had a different objective than you. What's a time that you wanted something and someone wanted something different? As we said, with obstacles comes frustration. When someone has a different objective than you, they become an obstacle in your life. When they become an obstacle, we get frustrated with them. And as we all know, a massive form of frustration in our life is the fact that we just can't get on the same page with other people. So I want you to take a second right now. Think about a time somebody brought about a lot of frustration to you. See if you can identify with their objective. What was it that they wanted? When it comes to motivation, what someone wants and why, it is crucial to figure out someone's objective. I was told all throughout my elementary school career that I had no motivation. The teachers would say, he's not motivated to work, he's not motivated to learn. But that wasn't the truth. I was motivated. I just wasn't motivated to do what they wanted me to do. I used to do wild things. Like I knew how far to put my head up to a lamp to make my temperature 101 degrees so I can tell my mom I was too sick for school. Then she said, I figured you out, you're going to school. So I went to school and I figured out how I could pop my shoulder in and out of socket to lie and say that I hurt myself and I needed to go home. After my mom caught onto that, she literally told the school nurse, you have to see him throw up in front of you before he's allowed to go home. I said, cool, challenge accepted. So I went to the lunchroom, mixed pudding and salsa in my mouth, went up to the nurse and went home like that. To the teachers, whose objective was to educate me and keep me in school. Sure, we didn't share the same objective, but you can't say I wasn't motivated. I was very motivated and very driven. I was just motivated to go home. And when you have something you want really deeply, you'll come up with creative ways to make it happen. Now I want you to think, what's a way you can potentially motivate them now that you know what they want? Maybe there's a way you can both achieve your objectives together.